So what did you make specifically of last night's game then?
Yeah, I thought it was calm to a point. I mean, Neto, the goalkeeper, I know he hasn't played for a while, but at first he had me a little bit like, oh my God, like, what's happening there? I was a little bit on edge with that. I thought we settled down a little bit. I know he conceded a crazy goal. I don't know where he found himself getting caught out in that area. But other than that, even when Arsenal went 1-0 down, I still didn't feel like there was going to be that much of a struggle. I just felt it was a matter of time of them getting that goal. And once they got that goal, I could only see one winner. But again, I wouldn't say they were spectacular, but they just did the job and got the job done.
So then let's go straight in and talk about Ethan Nwaneri. Do we think that his performance shows us that we have a Saka replacement for the rest of the season then, or not?
We have a Saka alternative. I'm not sure Saka is easily replaceable. But you do have somebody that receives the ball in a similar way, comes inside his left foot. And so those sort of movements we're sort of used to. Just watching him develop has been really interesting because he sort of came in quite spectacularly, got an injury. When he was out, Miles Lewis-Skelly sort of went up the escalator and he's must have been sitting there thinking, let me go out there and show everybody. And, but yeah, some of the details in his game last night were superb. I mean, he has to work his first touch, isn't he, Adrian?
He struggles to
me.
I mean, yeah, the academy has done its job. Actually, they probably didn't need to do much work with Ethan Nwaneri. He's so naturally gifted, isn't he, Clive? It's crazy. I don't think we appreciate how hard it is for a 17, 18-year-old to be in the Champions League and to thrive and look as good as he does. That is fast becoming his trademark, by the way, isn't it? That left foot whip into the far corner. Someone else we've already mentioned, Bukayo Saka, is pretty good at that as well. So, yeah, he is a phenomenal talent, and he's given Mikel Arteta a little bit of food for thought, I think, ahead of Manchester City, because that position needs filling, and I actually tend to think that he might get the nod now on the back of that performance, that goal for the City game, and maybe Arsenal might want to switch Martinelli over to the other side up against Matheus Nunes, who's not really a proper right back. So that might not happen, but it would certainly be in Mikel Arteta's mind, I think.
Darren, you're nodding away.
No, I agree with what the gentleman is saying here. I agree with...
Gentlemen?
Yeah, gentlemen. Yeah, two gentlemen.
Who's that?
I'm so surprised you said gentlemen. OK.
Gentlemen, yeah, I just think, yeah, he was outstanding last night. I think it says a lot. I mean, they almost force-feed him the ball because they trust him that much. And I think when you're a young player going to a side like Arsenal, I think trust is a big thing. And I think even the decision-making, there was one moment just before he scored the goal where he could have fed Trossard, but he didn't. He opted for the shot, and Trossard had maybe a little moan at him, and I found myself shouting at the TV saying, well, don't have a go at him. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I found myself screaming at the TV, but don't have a go at him. I just think he has got all the ability to go to the very, very top. He looks like he's mature, he's level-headed, he doesn't get carried away. But as I said, his decision-making yesterday, I thought it was outstanding. And I think he's got that rare ability where he can take the ball in tight quarters, tight proximity, but also if you give it to him in space, he's not scared to go 1v1 at the fullback as well. And as Adrian was saying there, I think surely if you're looking at the game at the weekend, you're looking at him thinking he plays with that no fear as well. And I think a lot of young players, sometimes they get to that stage and freeze a little bit and they take the safe option. I don't think that's in his game. No,
Saka hit you between the eyes when he first came on the scene because of his decision-making. And he was spot on with, I think, 95% of what he did. And the quality of his execution and the calmness of his sort of temperament just wasn't normal. And, just a few years later, here we are again with a player that is very, very unusual. For a player of that age, they're normally much more erratic.
Yeah.
But Saka and Nwaneri have got something very special. And I can't wait to see them both playing the same team together on a regular basis. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah. Oh
no, it's just I was just smiling thinking about his game last night. I mean, on the goal, Odegaard wraps it into it. Just wraps it in. And I'm a big believer in that players know players best. And the fact he did that, he knew he could deal with it. And then once he dealt with the ball, the opposition look at him and go, crikey, he's got that ball right where he wants it. What do? They freeze. They do it automatically. I don't want to be embarrassed by him. And he does his bit and it's in the back of the net. And so his technical ability is stunning. And when he grows up, to be a man, what are we going to see? It's going to be great.
Into a fine gentleman like you. So now let's move on to Raheem Sterling. Another bad night for him.
I feel for him, I do feel for him because when they brought him in, I was more optimistic than anything, thinking, I hope it goes well for him. Because there's no doubt he's had a sensational career. He's been at the very, very top. But things are just not working for him. And when he put the ball down for the penalty, I knew he was going to miss it. I mean, there was everything about it. I was sitting with my little boy watching the game, and I said to him, I know exactly where he's going to put the penalty.
Yep.
Because when you're, me being a former penalty taker, when you're lacking confidence, you opt to go for the safe option. And the safe option, if you're a right footer, is always the goalkeeper's left. Because it's like a straight side foot, because you think, right, I don't want to whip it too much because I might miss the target by going the other way. That straight leg side foot, I was always a bit firm believer you can never put enough power in it when you go that way. And his one looked that way, and it was quite a comfortable save in the end. But it was just one of those where I wasn't that surprised when he missed it.
Yeah. Can I just say, I'm concerned about him a little bit, right? He's struggling, he's working through his game. There were periods in earlier games I felt he hid in games. On the left, he wasn't hiding, particularly at the start. I think he suits the left-hand side better, but we've got a lot of left cover, haven't we? So there's a crowd scene on the left-hand side for Arsenal. So, but I thought he's really trying to affect the game, but you can literally see him fighting for it out there. One thing good, one thing bad. My view is, what is he for us? He's probably going to be a deep block killer last 20 in a game. That's what we're going to have to use him for. Yeah. And while he's here, that's his game state. And when Saka comes back, that's what he'll be, you know? So in the meantime, we just got to support him, really, because he ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, I'm so pleased you said that, because I've been thinking the same with him. I think he plays a bit wide for us when he starts. When I think about Raheem Sterling's career and when he's made the most impact, for City especially, it was arriving in the box as a second centre-forward to tuck home finishes, right?
Yeah.
Inside the box. He's brilliant at it. But we're not really seeing him getting into those positions too often. So I think, as a sub, when you need a goal, you're not going to put two up front, but you kind of want two strikers on the pitch. I think that is the moment to maybe unleash him. But I've got to say, because he hasn't taken those opportunities, his opportunities might be a little bit limited between now and the end of the season. It just hasn't happened for him. On that penalty, he'd missed 2 of his last 7. And I just think that anyone that's missed 2 of their last 7 pens shouldn't be on pens, really. I think that was a bit of a bad decision and a risk with just the 1 goal advantage. So, yeah, I think if we had that again, someone else really should have stepped up to take it instead, because that sort of pep-up pen, as you call it, backfired, didn't it?
Yeah.
Who do you think should have taken it?
Ødegaard or Havertz, you know, just bury the game, put it to bed. Because what happened was they equalised just shortly after that, and then, of course, it got disallowed. But if that goal had been stood and there was a fraction in it, then Arsenal would have finished 5th or 6th, which would have meant they'd have faced Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Man City much earlier in the competition. So it's actually quite an important moment, and I was surprised that they gave it to Sterling.
So speaking of that, we have our possible opponents. So who do you fancy your chances against for the last 16? AC Milan, PSV, Feyenoord or Juventus?
I would like Feyenoord, personally, because Feyenoord can't defend. Feyenoord, on their day, are great. They beat Bayern Munich 3-0 on the previous match week. So they're dangerous opponents, but they lost 6-1 to Lille on the final round of games. And most of their matches during the Champions League, they've conceded 2, 3, 4. You know, they've let in a lot of goals. I think that is possibly the easiest of the 3. You probably want either of the Dutch sides.
Yeah, that's where
I think that's where you're probably at. But I wouldn't be scared of either Italian side. If I had to pick between the Italians, I'd probably go with Juventus. So I think they're in worse shape than AC Milan, who have got some pretty dangerous players.
I think AC Milan have got Leao in their team, and I quite like him. I don't want to see him too closely. PSV got that guy, Bakayoko. Remember we played against a couple of years ago? I quite liked him. He's a bit raw still, and the price in his head is a little bit high, but he looks got a lot of potential. I think when we played, he played against Kivior, left back, remember? Yeah. And he was really, really good. And so they're good teams everywhere. So I agree with Adrian. One of the Dutch teams suits me. The Italians tend to know what to do, don't they, in this competition? So they've got a good heritage and history. So, yeah, one of the Dutch teams.
Yeah, I'd go Feyenoord as well, I think. I just think defensively as well, Italian clubs always quite hard to break down. Arsenal sometimes struggle to break down that low block. And that's what Italian sides do really, really well. And as Clive was saying there, Rafael Leao, I don't want any part of that. So, yeah, I'd probably go Feyenoord.
Well, we will find out very soon, won't we?